Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Monday, January 12th, 4:34 p.m. Eastern Time. Come to tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, we are in an uptrend. Take a look, trend gauge here. The four coveted green arrows, market leaders are acting great, and then indexes are all trending above the 21 EMA, the 50 SMA, and the 200 SMA. What happened today? Well, we got that Monday morning gap down reversal. And one thing that you'll tend to know on Mondays is we typically say don't chase a Monday morning gap down or don't sell the whole on a Monday morning gap down. And that was kind of the case. We gapped down overnight. There was some news flow with, you know, the Department of Justice um, uh, looking into the Fed Chair Powell. And so that kind of caused some weakness overnight. And then also we had the news Trump calls for a 1 year 10% interest rate cap on credit cards, but found support quickly and rallied up. Final numbers 21 over 21 list up 1.58%, 16 green, 5 red, Turbo 12 up 3.33%, 11 green, 1 red, Big 8 flat on the day, RG8 up 1.06%. 60/40 stock and bond up 0.24%, GROTECTION up 0.57%, and then TurboTection up 0.82% on the day. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation. And again, another new all-time high for the S&P 500. And regardless of what you think, that is not bearish. Obviously, that is always subject to change, but for now, another new all-time high is great. And this is breaking out of that VCP pattern, 7,000, kind of the next level. RSP continues to display strength, continue to move higher out of this breakout. Huge base. Qs pulling up to finally get out of this VCP base, 629.21 and 637, two pivots to watch out for if it can get through. But you got the 821 and 50-day all stacked together, potentially starting to see this RS line get back above the 21. But for the most part, the market's been characterized by, what's been leading is more, cyclical things, small caps, mid caps, equal weights, and that's why tech's been lagging. And again, when you look at the big cap index, what's leading? Well, Google making new highs today. Tesla's holding up quite well. Amazon, after lagging for years, is showing some more RS. And then the other counterparts, Meta's trading below the 200-day moving average. Microsoft right around there. Netflix has just been in a huge downtrend, so kind of weighing on the cues. Mag 7 again, super tight. Looks like it's gonna be making a move here. Lean bearish on this chart, another lower high, and you can almost argue that this is a bear flag shaping up here. And again, this does have that power 3 coil, but it could be moving to the downside. This relative strength line has been making lower highs, and if the way you could express this trade is with FNGD. It's the 3 times short FANG. So again, potentially hedge idea to watch out for. But again, this looks like it's making getting tight for a move. Again, this could break out or it could break down. You don't know. But when you look at most of the the action in the big caps, it's been mostly bearish. Dow Jones, another new closing high today for this index, very bullish. Mid caps, another making a new closing high today as well. Continue to see that breadth broadening out. Russell 2000, same thing here. Really nice move. Maybe a little bit short term extended after, 4 or 5 days up in a row. Maybe it handles or just keeps going. ARC, really nice pop today, kind of clearing this down trend line. Had that power 3 setup as well. So this is a great growth proxy to track. See if this gets into gear. FFTY, another great growth proxy, acting well, kind of moving higher out of this little consolidation range. VIX at a 15 handle, so that's good. Anything under 18 typically is conducive for good trade environment, less volatility, so that's good to see. The dollar potentially contrarian play would be this is bottoming out. When you look back at the start of 2025, everyone was very, very bullish the dollar, and then it obviously had a horrible year last year. You can see, you know, this was the start of 2025 and quite the move down. And so maybe starting to see a bottoming process. And again, the dollar likes to do these undercuts of clean levels. So it's like This everyone was watching for the space breakout, failed, and now looking like a potential failed breakdown. It's just something to watch, and seeing the correlation with the precious metals. Gold, another new high today, unbelievable strength. Silver as well, or gold miners as well, up 3.5% on the day. Silver too, up almost 7%. Total, starting to go a little bit parabolic, but super strong. Bitcoin getting super tight here. See if you can reclaim the 50-day. Bonds in this big range. Same with TLT, and then rates again, setting up, see which move it wants to go. All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape. And another positive, percent of stocks with a 5-day are pretty neutral. For the S&P 500, only 54% are above the 5-day, and for the NASDAQ 100, only 46. And talked about the turning points in the videos before, 70 to 80, getting a little stretched to the downside, under 20, 10 area. So middle ground, and this just leans bullish in the direction of the trend. News-wise, like I mentioned, Department of Justice probe into Fed Chair Powell, and then 10% interest cap on credit cards, and some of the buy now pay later names, banks, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, were all down today. We'll have to see, you know, what that means, and it falls through. Today's keys: S&P versus the 21 and all-time highs, green arrows there. Q's above the 21 and all-time, and Q's above the 21 EMA, so below all-time highs. Then Russ 2000 above the 21 and all-time highs going into tomorrow. Could be watching the same stuff. Let's see if the S&P can get back above that 7,000 level, and see if the Q's can start to really get some RS back and get out of this VCP pattern. Day count up to 6 days above the 8 EMA, 15 days above the 21 EMA. And like I mentioned, gap down reversal, strong close on the day. Sectors wise, silver, REMX, ALB is a big holding in there. SQM, they got some nice upgrades, and that just continues to be a fantastic theme. Clean energy ETF, uranium, and China had quite a day. FXI, KWeb, specifically individual names, Baba and Baidu. And what we've been seeing is, emerging markets are breaking out of an 18-year base. So, again, a place to watch out for, and China is, in that area. And then weakness, banks, regional banks, energy, airlines, biotech. GROTECTION today bought a firm, APH and TSLL. TSLL is the 2 times Tesla, and that was just used due to low cash. 1.79 RVAB, estimated balance at risk minus 7.21%. TurboTection, no changes today. 1.95 RVAB, estimated balance at risk minus 7.98%. Bottom line, bulls by the gap down, and the S&P 500 hits new all-time highs. All right, let's get into GROTECTION, a firm, potentially news failure, but holding right at 21. So see if it can round back out again. Perhaps see if this was sell the news for the buy now pay later names on that 10% interest rate cap on credit cards. But again, this could be a delayed reaction. You see this all the time. Market doesn't understand the news completely day one, and then you can see it fire back day two. But this has got great numbers moving forward. GROTECTION also bought APH, breaking out of a clean double bottom base in a strong group. And then Tesla, reclaiming the averages, getting really tight in a really nice base here. So see if it can continue. And another thing is, it held right on this upward sloping trend line back from these June 2025 lows, and vehicle was TSLL for that one. TurboTection, we did no trades today. 21 over 21 lists. SoFi, GLW, Light, and GEV were cut. And then the ads were Eli Lilly, BE, Sandus, and APH. So let's take a look. ALB, top name in REMX. We own REMX and TurboTection. So this is helping, just another new high. Unbelievable trend here. Coherent, some of these optics names been, getting a lot more wide and loose, so that's something to watch out for. But this has got a nice base and really nice undercut of these lows and the 50-day. So watching this one, tan solar starting to pop out here out of this cup and handle base. Let's take a look. First solar, this one's been weak. You got CSIQ. This one's also been weak. The leading one today was NXT, finally getting out of this. It's been a super choppy range, but finally breaking out of it higher. So that one looks good. about the best solar name that I see right now. Rocket Lab space theme continues to be strong. This one's trending beautifully up the right side. APH covered that one. GDX new highs today. Teradyne, we also own this in TurboTection. Started on this earnings pivot gap. This one, has tailwinds in the robotic space and the semiconductor equipment. Came back in and then reclaimed gap day lows, shot up, broke out of this tight range, and now going out through the short little flag, big weekly base that's coming out of. This one's acting great. Sandisk new high again today, probably the stock of the market right now. Superior fundamentals, massive liquidity, super linear, trends nicely, respects moving averages. Huge catalyst, huge supply demand imbalance with the DRAM, and so this one's acting really well. MDB, potential undercut and reclaim of this high volume close. QBTS holding the 21, got a big downtrend line here from the highs if it can reclaim. Bloom Energy, GROTECTION owns this. Really nice action through this 120 level. 147.86, kind of the next level to watch out for. CCJ uranium names are really strong. And if you look at chart, spot uranium, it's coming out of a massive base. So, and just fits the theme with data centers and power. Eli Lilly, there's a healthcare conference this week's one to watch, but held made another higher low, reclaimed 21. Looks great after a big move up and strength in healthcare. Sienna, another optic name, it's just getting wide and loose, but it's holding up well. So we'll see how it acts. Carvana looked dead here, undercut this 400 level and shot right back up. Micron, another one in the computer data storage memory super cycle and just continues to ride higher. Reddit still building out this cup and handle base. 250 is kind of the next level. See if it can blast through there. Rocket, another one, that 200 billion MBS purchases was the catalyst to get this out of this range. This is owned in both portfolios, acting extremely well. Huge weekly base too, heading in stage two uptrend. TPR continues higher in the apparel. Some of these names got crushed today. A lot of them pre-released and announced some numbers. Take a look, A&F down 17%. Abercrombie and Fitch was down a lot. American Eagle was down a lot more, but closed only down 3.5%. Urban Outfitters down 12.5%. Visco, which we own in Turbo, uh, you know, to me, this is what relative strength is. A lot of names getting hit in the group, and this one bounced right off the 8 EMA and holding at the highs. I think five below. It's kind of another retail name actually holding up. Didn't really get hit today. LUV strong with airlines, rather a little bit weak today. And then Affirm sitting right at 21. See if this can hook back up. Turbo 12. We cut AAOI, Rivian, and AEO, and then added EOSC, Baidu, and DOCN. Planet Labs, we own this in TurboTection, continues to act phenomenal. Another new high today, up 12%. Baidu coming out of a really nice base, inverse head and shoulders bottom. Big tailwinds. China's acting really well. Exposure to China is pretty low, and again, that kind of give you the best opportunity when positioning is very low and you got some stocks like Baidu, Baba. I'll show Baba while we're here too as well. Really, really big day today on 207% above average volume, breaking this down trend line back by the 50-day, so really good action there. Unity starting to emerge out of this really tight range. EOSC broke this downtrend line, continuing higher. This one's in the electrical power equipment, some decent sales growth moving forward. REMX, another new high, super strong. SQM, another new high as well in the REMX ETF. DOCN, a software name breaking out with the sector's weak. So this is kind of a basketball underwater. And again, agentic AI is a potential theme for the market to see, and this could be a leader there. KTOS, again, short term quite extended, so would welcome a handle here on the right side. HUT, again, as long as it's holding above this 57.29 pivot, maybe handles out here. TSEM getting super tight in this flag. Really like the look of this one. Super big move up. First consolidation. You got the 50-day catching up to price. Flat. This has got a 3 weeks tight right off the 10-week moving average as well. And again, this is what you like to see. So this is definitely a focus name. LEU formed this flag after a big move up, getting this alignment of the moving averages in the uranium, space. Like the look of this. We traded this a lot in 2025. Had caught a couple moves in here. Great name. Really, really can move when it moves, and it's got big fundamental tailwinds. See if it can continue. Figure pretty volatile today, but again, it always depends on where you bought. But just pulling back to the top of the pivot, and so as long as this holds, it could be good and actually could provide an entry if not in. So watching this one as well for a little flag here. As long as it holds the top of the base, don't want it to see it really close back below 50. Some other notable movers, CoreWeave, quite a big day, breaking out of this little range back above the 50-day moving average and kind of the OpenAI complex. Oracle was up today. Saw some nice moves in NBIS, Iron. So something to watch for new leadership. And then again, Google owned in both portfolios, new highs, 4 trillion market cap. They had Apple and Google, Apple's going to be using Gemini. So they had that partnership and just kind of reaffirms Google is probably the AI leader right now, and it's acting extremely well. So all in all, again, another positive day in the markets, S&P new highs. And one thing I want to say is, both portfolios are pretty much fully invested, and sometimes you can get the shiny object syndrome. But when you're fully invested, want to let your names work. And then again, if something's lagging, that's when you want to cut it, and you also want to sell into strength, and then cut the weeds. So that's really our focus right now, being pretty much invested, obeying stops, adding to winners, cutting losers, cutting weeds. So, and then again, one thing to watch, banks kick off earnings this week, XLF. So what we're looking at here, JPM, Goldman Sachs. So we'll see what they have to say on their earnings. That is going to wrap it. As always, like to hear from you. My email is connor@revereasset.com. You can always reach out to me on Twitter at ConnorJBates _. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. And if you're ever interested in becoming a client, as always, please reach out. Thank you guys for watching. Give a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.